sometimes people would look at our male counterparts when they know their job and they're aggressive and they hold your feet to the fire. Oh, he's high speed. You want to be high speed. That means you squared away. But when we have all of those things, instead of us being, oh, high speed and squared away and tough, a lot of times they take that and say, we're an angry black female, or some less flavorful words that I will not say.
Welcome to Rooted and Rising, where we focus on becoming whole through the mind, body, and spirit together. My name is Lamisa, and my guests today are CW Chief Warrant Officer 5, retired, Cheryl Bartly, and Chief Warrant Officer 4, Tabitha Williams. Cheryl, will you explain how we met and your last job in the military?
Good morning, everyone. I will tell you how I met Sergeant Major Carradine. I was stationed at Fort Hood. Well, we both were coming from other duty stations. I think she was coming from Hawaii, and I was actually coming back from Iraq. I was stationed at Fort Rucker, Alabama. I think Tab knows Fort Rucker, Alabama. I was a TAC officer, but however, I left there and deployed. And I PCS, which is called a permanent change station. And my great new duty station was Fort Hood, and that is where I met Sergeant Major Carradine. At the time, were you a Master Sergeant or Sergeant First Class? Lord, I'm so old.
Master Sergeant.
Master Sergeant Carradine, and she was the NCOIC, which is the non-commissioned officer in charge of the 1st Army Division's G4. And I was the Senior Property Accountability Technician and Asset Visibility, which I know some of you guys might not be military, but basically what it is a subject matter expert or liaison for logistics and accounting and audit. We met during that time. She was in charge as a non-commissioned officer for the entire 4 shop, and I was the subject matter expert officer within the shop. We are both logisticians, or what's considered to be quartermasters, and that is how we first met. Not to say too much. Okay, I might have said too much already.
And explain your last job in the military.
My last job in the military I was the Corps G4. Again, I was back at Fort Hood. This is strange because I went to the Pentagon. I went a lot of other places for three Corps. I was a Corps G4 senior logistician for an entire division for the Army. So that was my final job in the Army as a division senior accounting specialist and expert for the Army as a warrant officer.
Tabitha, explain how we met and your last job in the military.
Well, with that's kind of cool because how we met and my last was together. So my last and final duty station was Fort Sam. I was the battalion adjutant. And as far as how we met, oh my goodness, I tell this story to a lot of people. So I had got to the duty station around 2017, was going around introducing myself as the battalion S1. And I was told, hey, look, go and check in, introduce yourself to the G shops. So I go to the G4 shop. There's a Sergeant Major there. So I'm like, hey, good morning, Sergeant Major. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Chief Williams. He said, I don't know why you're talking to me. I'm about the PCS. So I said, okay, well, let me go back and let Sergeant Major know. Hey, Sergeant Major, the G4 Sergeant Major said he's, PCS, and what we doing? So he was like, all right, don't worry about it. There's a new one coming in. So sure enough, another Sergeant Major did come in. And so I'm going to go over there again. Hey, good morning, Sergeant Major. I'm introducing myself. I'm Chief Williams. I'm here. He was like, I don't know why you're talking to me. I dropped my papers. I'm retired. I only got like a couple of weeks and I'm out. So I was like, oh my God. I said, let me go back. I said, hey, Sergeant Major Wilson, look, I done went over there. The G4, the first one, he done PCS. Now this one talking about he retired. Hey, we need to do. Next thing I know, I hear the colonel yelling, hey, Chief, Sergeant Major, get in my office. So we get in there and he's like, what's going on? We need a G4 Sergeant Major. We need one, and we need to get one that's going to stay here. So I just crossed my arms, looked at Sergeant Major like, okay, you heard what he said. You better make it happen. And lo and behold, when I tell you, Sergeant Major Carradine came in, it was a blessing in disguise. When I tell you, when girlfriend showed up on the scene, we was having all sorts of kind of issues with G4. G4 wasn't submitting the paperwork. G4 wasn't coming in doing no of that S1 stuff, no evaluation, none of that stuff was getting done. I said, hey, Sergeant Major, I just want to let you know, introduce myself. I add you on the team, but here's what's going on in your shop. She was like, for real? Don't worry about it. I'll handle it. Give me a second. All I know is, next thing I know, I had officers, warrant officers, enlisted folks running in my office like roaches coming out of nowhere. Like I ain't never seen half these folks. And next thing you know, they was like, hey, look, Chief, let you know I did this. Let Sergeant Major know I did what I was supposed to do. Put my name down. Got my name, Chief, got my name. I said, okay, all right, okay, we got us a little feisty one here. I like her. So in a nutshell, that was both my job, my last job, and meeting you.
Tabitha, could you walk me through your decision-making process for re-enlisting or pursuing a commission?
So the process of re-enlisting or commissioning. So I guess you want to say as far as commissioning, as far as with warrant officers. So basically there is a packet that you have to submit. It goes through, you're going to add your evaluation. You have to get a recommendation, usually from a warrant officer within your field. So for my process, believe it or not, I actually worked for a 3-star general, and at that time they do the direct select, and so that was really not my avenue that I wanted to go. I did want to become a warrant officer. I did meet a warrant officer in the process. Every day he would come in and he would be like, hey, have you ever thought about being a warrant officer? Yeah, I've thought about being a warrant officer. Then he'll be like, okay, what's the prerequisite for being a warrant officer? And just back and forth. So I was like, okay, let me go get this information. Let me go through. So I explained to him like, hey, look, I have a college degree, so I ain't got to worry about the credit for the English or anything of that nature. So I submitted my packet. I actually got the letter of recommendation from my 3-star general, who thought that I was going to do the direct select packet, submit that. That was not the case. Again, I also got a warrant officer recommendation from a CW4 promotable, was about to make 5. And so he submitted and everything, and I guess the rest was history.
Cheryl, could you walk me through your decision-making process for re-enlisting?
Well, re-enlisting versus becoming a warrant officer, it was something that I learned as a young soldier. As a logistician, you run across so many different people. And when I was a young soldier, my first, I guess I would say, relationship with a warrant officer was my sergeant sending me up to the property accountability, which is the PBO, which is what I retired as, which is a specialist. Sent me up there, but at the time I was just a private, just coming in the Army. And I went up there, and this person that I met knew so much information and knowledge about our job. But at the same time, that person, there was a reverence to that person. People respected this person. And I was like, well, I didn't even know what a warrant officer was. But everybody was either scared to go see this person or they wanted to go see this person. And I later learned the reason why so many people were afraid to go see this person is because this person had the knowledge. AI has nothing on a warrant officer. That's what I'm going to say. Warrant officers are AI. So when I learned about this, I was scared to go because if you didn't come in there correct, they was going to send you back out, similar to a sergeant major. So I said, I am going to grow up and I want to become this warrant officer. I want the knowledge that they have. And so when I did my enlistment and re-enlistment, there are certain requirements for you to become a subject matter expert in the liaison, a specialist as a warrant officer. So I did that. And when it was time, once I had the right amount of classes, and it depends on what your specialty is, you have to have certain information, as Tab said. Once I did that, I went ahead and I re-enlisted. I literally had to re-enlist because I didn't have enough time left in the Army to qualify to become a warrant officer. So I had to re-enlist as a NCO. At the time, I was a E5 promotable, just so that I can put in my packet to become this subject matter expert, because that's what you consider to be. I loved being a logistician, and so I re-enlisted to be that. But if we went all the way back to when I first joined the Army and enlisted in the Army, it was something different altogether. I wanted money to go to college. I wanted money to live, coming from not too much of anything. That's what I did to join the Army at first. But later on, with the subject, with the MOS I am now, I enlisted so that I could become that subject matter expert.
So I'm going to tell a little bit about me, why I re-enlist. So I re-enlist to go to Hawaii, but the assignment was taken, and so I went to Germany. And so just being able to travel, that was one of my biggest things about being in the military. And then as I came up in the ranks of the military, I was offered to go to warrant officer or commission as an officer. But I chose to stay an NCO because I believed that we needed some strong leaders in the NCO Corps. And I knew I could be that strong leader. To me, I know everybody always said about, but you can make more money, you can do this. And it's never about the money with me. And I don't know why I'm wired like that, but that's how I'm wired. So how did
you
you
have the
balance?
heart of a leader and the heart of a teacher. That's why. And we needed you. We did need you.
Yes, we're so glad you made that decision.
Cheryl, how did you balance the need to be an assertive leader with the pressure to avoid being labeled aggressive?
That is a question. That is a big question. I will start by giving you a little data about being a warrant officer, because you've got 2 African American warrant officers on the line. And I would like to just give your audience a demographics. Warrant officers only make up 3% of the United States Army. 3%. Of that, 93% of them are male. Of that, Black females, of the 7% that's left, which are female, Black females don't even make up 1% of that amount. So you can imagine people like Tab and I entering into this. And even before that, you can be sergeant major, as you are sergeant major, or warrant officer, and moving up through the ranks. They would look, sometimes people would look at our male counterparts when they know their job and they're aggressive and they hold your feet to the fire. He's high speed, and if a lot of people don't know that, that means you squared away. That means that you know your job, you fit the fight, and as you can see all these women on here, you know, we not over here eating 15 Big Macs. And that is something that we continue even in our civilian lives, to take care of ourselves. So we went out shooting our weapons. We can hit the bright side of a barn and the person standing beside it. But it's so many things that you have to learn in your MOS or your job as a soldier altogether. Physical fitness person that's strong and buff, but you have nothing up here, or you have no knowledge of strategy or no knowledge of the battlefield and how things work. You have to be all of those things. But when we have all of those things, instead of us being high speed and squared away and tough, a lot of times they take that and say, we're an angry Black female, or some less flavorful words that I will not say, but it could be equated to maybe a female dog. But because I know what you know, or sometimes I probably knew more, but we sat there as professionals and call it out. I'm going to give you one example of when Sergeant Major was in E8, and I think Tab gave a great example of her coming in and knowing her stuff. We worked in an office where there were a lot of senior officers and senior leaders. However, she was in charge as the non-commissioned officer, but she had officers and everything working for us. Many of them were not 360 soldiers. And what I mean by that is They wouldn't get out and exercise. They didn't know their job. They didn't want to travel for inspections, but they wanted to get paid. We got in a shipment of computers and they come on a pallet, like thousands of them on a pallet. So as the officer, I'm down there grabbing these computers, just putting them on dollies. And Sergeant Major is just astonished. She's looking at these NCOs not moving anything. So she went up and said to them, hey, why aren't you helping download this equipment that is ours, getting it into the building? Because we are an army. We are an army, a team. And they said, well, we're on profile, which means that you have some medical inability to do, what you're supposed to do. Now, she could have just said, okay, you go on with your business. She said, your profile says you can't lift more than 40 pounds. Each one of these computers weigh less than 3 pounds. I don't care if you have to carry one at a time. You're going to get out there as a team of soldiers, and we're going to get this stuff into the unit. I don't care what you can carry. If my chief is out here, you're going to be out here. They basically said that she was being forceful, draconian, etc. But what she was doing was being a true leader. What she was doing was ensuring that the mission got done and not allowing people to use excuses, because excuses are crutches for the uncommitted, and they were not committed to their jobs. But they said she was being belligerent and mean, but she was being a direct leader. So these are some of the things that we have to deal with. Even if I'm direct, I have an attitude, or I'm a angry black woman. However, I follow every regulatory guidance to the T. The great thing is I had the regulation behind me, and I made sure that I went by the book. And if you're doing that to standard, as my sergeant major here once told one of our soldiers, you can go to an inspector general. Your work will be waiting for you when you get back up here.
Tabitha, how did you manage the challenge of leading a team that was initially resistant to your leadership style or background?
Okay, so that's definitely a good question for me, especially in S1 shop. So I did come into a shop that was truly a disaster. We all know that, everybody's quick to say S1 loses paper, and, I dropped my paperwork off, my leave form, my this and my that. And it was always well, we did it this way. Well, we did it this way. So we're going to keep doing it this way. We're not going to do it. And so I said, well, first of all, I don't know what, that's not how I do business. I said, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to sit our butts down. We're going to listen to what I got to say and what I'm going to do and how we're going to set this shop up for success. We're going to be a go at this station. I said, and this is how it goes. I said, so what you do is, and the thing about it, my master sergeant used to get so mad at me, but my thing is if you see Chief doing it, there's no excuse. I don't know what the people as far as warrant officers, and I'm sure it wasn't them, but as far as those E4s and below, maybe you had that low drag, like Chief said earlier, NCO, that E5-6 that didn't care, or whatever the case may be. And some about us, when we get into that I'm about to retire mode, we could care less what's going on. I said, I don't know what y'all were used to. I said, but we're going forward, and what we're going to do here is, when Chief does it, and I show you how to do it, and I'm showing you how to do it the correct way, like Chief said, by the regulation, we ain't doing nothing under the table, we ain't doing nothing crazy, we going to be good. And so I had to sit them down, and I'm sitting down there, I'm showing them step by step how to do it, how to file it, where to put it, what to do with it, where to send it to, and understanding that anything that goes out this shop is a reflection of everybody, not just Chief and the major, it's everybody in the shop. So what you don't want is anything to go out there looking crazy or anything of that nature. So again, just sitting down, I'll just say, hey, look, I'm just being 100 with the soldiers. I'm gonna take you through step by step by the regulation, so that if anybody comes in to say anything, they can't say, well, you did this, but the regulations say no. Y'all gonna do everything by the regulation. We're going to, like I said, we're going to do it by standards. We're going to have a standard. We're going to stick to that standard. And that was pretty much it for me. I mean, hey, I walked in, said what I had to say. We're going to do what I say and be done with it. Period.
Cheryl, who were the mentors that helped you see a path to the top, and did they look like you?
I had a lot of mentors. One of them was you. But we'll talk about that in a minute. One of the things I learned as a young soldier was with anything, you have to have diversity. A lot of people might see diversity as a bad thing, but one thing I learned about diversity is when you have a diverse group of leaders or a diverse group of anything, then you have a choice or view or picture of different aspects, views, etc., that you can pull from. As they say, eat the meat and throw away the bone. This person might be able to give you a vision of how this thing might affect you as a female. This person, and I'm talking about the environment that we might be in, both military and civilian. This person over here might be able to give you a view of as a civilian because we work with civilian and military. This person might be able to give you a male point of view. Whatever it is, I diversified and made sure that I did not treat my mentors like fertilizer, because you know what they say about fertilizer: if you keep it in a big pile, it just stinks, but if you spread fertilizer around, it makes things grow. So diversifying my leaders and the people that I saw that I wanted to emulate, or they had something, that's how I asked those people if they would be my mentor. Because mentors, it's a relationship between you and that other person, and both of you are giving. It's like a give and take, and you're sharing a lot. These are the people that they're just going to straight up tell you, no, that's something I don't think you should do, and this is why, or hey, this is something you might want to look at doing. And I call them my lanterns, because they have lit my path and provided me light so that I could see my steps to make sure that I'm walking in the right direction. And you're not looking for somebody who's going to be telling you yes about everything. And you're looking for people that's going to help you through it. I was really going through a lot of people, you don't know this, but I'm going to share with you guys. I was probably about 7.5 months, 8 months pregnant, and I lost my baby. And I was in a state of depression. I did not want to get out of bed. I did not want to move. Sergeant Major was my sergeant major, but she became my friend, my mentor, and she said, "You got to get up. You got to get up." She was at my house every day. She was on the phone with me every day, even though I did not want to move. She was there for me. And we got back into it military. When I got to work, she was like, "Yes, ma'am, let's go." You understand? But when I needed her, she was there for me, whether it be at work or school. And that's what mentors do. They tell you the truth about yourself. They tell you, you can't sit here and sit around and think life is not going to pass you by.
Tabitha, how did you protect your mental health and softness in an environment that often demands you to be the strong Black woman?
So for me, it was definitely the Lord, my Bible, because again, things can be hectic. A lot of stuff happens, a lot of things go on. And like you said, to avoid that angry Black woman that they always depict us as, I had to take that time. I had to step away. I had to read, do a lot of praying, which I think all of us were doing a lot of praying, especially when we were deployed. And just having that, again, I think that's when for me, my spiritual walk and my journey began there, because Lord knows I it was crazy, and there was moments when I was like right here, and of course from not necessarily from other situations with us, you have to talk me off the ledge, and let's not act up. We're not gonna do that, because they can easily trigger. So you definitely have to find a set area to just be to yourself, a quiet place. Again, what I'm saying, to read, to talk, to woosah. So that was definitely pretty much what I did as far as calm, as far as to avoid being an angry Black woman.
Tab, what is one piece of unspoken advice you can give to young women entering the service today?
Unspoken advice. Well, I mean, I think everything's pretty much spoken. I mean, be true to yourself. Know that although it may seem hard, it may seem unachievable or impossible, we all know all things are possible through Christ for those that's on that journey and that path. But know that you can do it. Don't beat yourself up. because we do that. We're more hard on ourselves than anybody. And as a female, I would say definitely take the time out for you, self-care, but at the same time, know that as a woman, you can do it. Don't depend on the man for certain stuff. Again, because a lot of us always want to go to, no, you're a woman. At the end of the day, you can do it. Half the time when you depend on somebody to do it, either they're going to let you down or they're going to mess you up. And then at the end of the day, you're going to have to end up doing it anyway.
Cheryl, what is one piece of unspoken advice you can give to young women entering the service today?
I would start by telling them you're a minority within a minority, which requires you to be proactive in your approach, in your career, in your personal well-being. I would tell them something like that. Last thing I would tell them is find your tribe. And your tribe should be your tribe of mentors, which we were just talking about. And those mentors that will advocate for you. Even if you don't like what they say, they're going to advocate for you. Master your regulations. Speak up for yourself. Do not be afraid to voice what you got to say. If you feel unheard, speak up respectfully. Speak up respectfully through your chain of command. Prioritize your performance and your resilience. And never, ever ignore your mental health. I just told you guys about Sergeant Caradine being there for me. Don't ignore your mental health. The pressure is always going to be there for you as a Black woman. And the struggle is real. And the stress and pain can get you. Find your tribe. You'll be going in the middle of the ring fighting them, but when you get back to your corner, your tribe will be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for coming on Rooted and Rising. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. Well, I still call you Sergeant Major, so if everybody don't know, we still call you Sergeant Major. So, Lamisa.
Thank you, Lamisa. All right, little big chief.
Chief Tab. You guys take care.